and welcome to the Newsx Sunday Guardian Roundtable. Today on the Roundtable, we have a very interesting topic. We're going to be taking a look at the protection of personality and publicity rights of celebrities and also of ordinary people. This is an age of AI, an age of deepfakes, where anything can be copied, imitated, or just taken without your permission, whether it is a celebrity voice, whether it's a signature, whether it's your identity, your look. It can be used to endorse products. It can be used any way possible, whether it's for deepfakes or for advertisements, any use possible. So celebrities have actually objected against this. The Bachchans were perhaps the first to go and move the courts, but soon there have been other cases also, and we also have a landmark case which was filed by NTR Jr. He's the lead actor in War 2, also objecting to the use of his image, his identity, and his voice, and anything else connected with himself. I have the lead counsel also of that case. I have Alka Dhar. She is the founding partner of Law Offices of India, Dr. Alka, in fact. She fought the case, and I'll ask her about that and why is it a landmark judgment. Also with me is Percival Billy Moria. He's a senior advocate. So I also have with me Jitin Jain. He's a cyber security expert. Alka, I'll begin with you first. Tell us about the NTR case that on personality rights. What was the case entailed, and why is the judgment so important?
See, before NTR Jr., there were a lot of judgments that took place. Amitabh Bachchan, Aishwarya Rai, Ajay Devgan, and all that. Why NTR's case was a little special was because it was for the first time. Initially, every celebrity which had gone to the court, they had got interim order, a John Doe order, saying that, a stay order, to put it in simple terms. But in our case, the court said that, no, first you have to go under the intermediary rules 2021, and then you come back to us. Now that happened for the first time. So we did go, some of the infringing material was brought down, but some was not. So for that, we had to go back to the court and we got a John Doe order on that. So, but that also sends me, while I was thinking, and I did speak to you on that, that brings out a very important question. That is, under the intermediary rules, we do have to go back to the intermediary, like the Amazon, Flipkart, social media, social platforms. We have to write to them that, okay, now these are the infringing materials. You bring down those things. If you don't, then of course we will need to go to the court. But the only thing that's what stuck me was that while we do write to them, they have to acknowledge it within 24 hours. Of course, if it's obscene, pornographic and stuff like that, then they have to bring it down within 36 hours. We do have these timelines, but they have 15 days under those rules to decide whether they need to bring down those infringing material or not. So what happens in those 15 days? My reputation, the financial liabilities of it all. Who's going to be liable for that? Now, that is a question which is unanswered till now. Not only that, even in AI, I personally think after the discovery of fire, invention of the wheel and the internet, I think AI is going to dramatically change how we see life today.
In fact, that's where I want to bring in Jitin, because, this whole concept of, AI is also, how does it infringe on the freedom of speech, freedom, because there is that article also where, if you want to send a message, can we use an actor's face or a voice to send the right message? It always helps to enforce and this thing. Then in terms of spoofs and satires, sometimes political figures especially are used for that. So now they can also say you're infringing on my personality right.
See, there are 2-3 issues here. This is not new. So it all started, 10 years ago when you found these porn websites using swapped faces of actresses and actors to generate clickbait revenue. And so you would have someone else in the video, you'll just swap and superimpose a face, and it was all happening to generate some money and, eyeballs. Now, this was out of public domain. This was done for nefarious purpose. And, usually that actor or actress would also know that it is a fake video because the face is moving and, they didn't bother. Now, with the emergence of AI and deepfake videos in the last 5-6 years, initially we saw, I remember giving a presentation at MHA in 2017-18, I guess, where we saw that there was no political personality or celebrity in US whose deepfake porn was not available, and it was true for Indian celebrities also. Then came the political deepfakes, where you were looking at electoral gains. Arvind Kejriwal asking people to vote for Congress in Punjab, a fake video of Shivraj Singh cabinet in Madhya Pradesh deciding certain things. Still, you were able to look at those videos, look at certain things like eye gestures, whether eye is blinking or not. They were, these were all first generation deepfakes where you would still have some wherewithal to figure out whether this is a machine generated video or not. Now, with the emergence of GAN and this third generation deepfakes, where there is no superimposition of face, there is no imposition of anything, the entire video itself is machine generated. There is no human involved, and the accuracy and of that video is 100%. You can send it to any forensic lab. Nobody can tell whether it is a real video or a machine generated video. So this is what we are looking at. Now, this gives emergence. Raises two questions. One, AI will ultimately imitate humans. That is going to happen. But then who will own that avatar? The code which created that or trained data and created that clone or a deepfake video, or the human whose face or identity is being used? That's number one. Two, see, in the past, I went to an Interpol conference and there was a debatable issue when this metaverse and all these things were coming in. Somebody filed a complaint that in a virtual reality, somebody had molested me and physically harmed me by a stick, and I want to file an FIR. Now, this raises multiple questions, whether that digital avatar is a digital property or is it an extension of your physical self? Both are two different cases. You are destroying let's say, somebody commits a murder of someone in metaverse. Can you give the same equivalent punishment as if someone has been killed physically in the physical world? So the question you have to ask, that are they the same laws or different laws, and that avatar, is it extension of your physical personality? Now, third, there is a question of consent. I remember in 2019 or 20 elections in Delhi, Lok Sabha elections, there were multiple machine-generated videos of Delhi BJP President Manoj Tiwari speaking to voter in 7 different languages, fluent different languages. Now, I remember political parties raising a complaint that what is going on, Manoj Tiwari circulating fake videos, speaking in fluent English and all those things. But his point was, look, that I am trying to communicate to voters, right? And if I am able to communicate in different languages, I am finding a connect, and it is for a political purpose. Now, there was obviously consent because it was done with his consent. But the problem was he did not inform voters that these are machine-generated videos. So you and me, if you think that, oh, Priya speaks very well Bengali, or South India, where there are linguistic, political considerations in India, people might vote for you. Oh, she's Bengali, she's Tamil. So without telling people that it is a machine-generated video, he was doing it. So consent was there, but information and informed consent was not there. So my point is, we have to first settle a debate whether the virtual avatars are extension of your digital identity or your physical identity. Two, is the consent enough? If these celebrities whose videos are used to dupe people on Bitcoin scams, Ponzi schemes, that is a separate issue. But suppose if some PR agency is doing it under some contract, is only the consent okay? Third is, should it not be mandatory to tell people that even where the consent is involved, that the video which is being shown is machine generated, and so that last person, the consumer, knows that even if this video is looking very great and it is done with consent, it is still machine generated. So consent, information, and then attribution, that who generated this video, who created this video, are three issues we have to first settle, and ownership.
Wow, that's actually really summing it up very comprehensively, I must say.
I don't know law. I'm telling you, a part we have to deal with where law is not there, because we're only dealing with patent laws, copyright laws, IP laws, and cyber laws, and we're trying to find some mechanism to deal with this problem, which I think is not possible.
Sorry, can I butt in here?
Yeah,
sorry.
Of course.
Percy, I'm sorry. I know it's See, there was this very famous case of Elysia, in which this guy was, I think it was a Dutchman. He was in conversation with an AI chatbot. And during those conversations, she actually encouraged his suicidal thoughts, and he did commit suicide. I think this was in 2023. Then there's another case of, going further to what Jitin said, I think it was Alicia Fromis. I think she's a Canadian-Dutch artist. She actually has married an AI hologram. She's actually married. There was a marriage ceremony, and she calls it the hybrid marriage. Now, that's where the world is going to.
But then how do you legislate this world, Mr. Billy Moria? Because also personality rights, if you just look at that small topic that we began with, are not codified. They are case by case. But Jitin brings in the point of consent. I think that's a very important marker to start with. But then where do you go from here?
So, well, these are judicial innovations. And the way the law has evolved, I think, of course, listening to Jitain, I'm frankly quite astounded. And I think the law will have its own challenges to meet up to people marrying, their own avatars or stuff like that. I think it's unimaginable. Right now, what we do have in the law is the twin concept of privacy rights. It initially started as privacy right,
Correct.
which is really the right to be left alone, right? So to respect the dignity of the individual. And our Supreme Court has recognized privacy rights as a very integral part of fundamental rights. Way back in 1994, much before the Puttaswamy 9-judge bench decision came about. But on the other side of the coin, if you like, is publicity rights, where people realize that, look, celebrities do have the right to be left alone. But I think, there was an article in the Harvard Business Review or something, which said that what really the issue is all about is that celebrities believe that it's not just about the privacy being infringed, but the fact is that the commercial value of their personality is being expropriated.
Right.
So that brought about the concept of exploiting commercial rights of celebrity. So it all boils down to identifiability in the law. So if there's a celebrity, for example, even his voice now can be, I wouldn't say patented, but recognized as separately identifiable. And that confers on that celebrity a particular right to exploit commercially, which is he can either, enter into a contract with a commercial organization which wishes to exploit it for its products. And if there have been instances in Indian law where, that particular advertisement has been used by another commercial organization, and they've either been injuncted or, told to pay damages.
So consent, again, we come back to that, Alka. But
May I ask a question? I think
Please,
it will be
yes.
appropriate for both our lawyer friends to answer.
Huh.
So we are talking about imitating a human or a celebrity or a personality. Now it is now becoming a trend across the world that people run Instagram accounts with millions of followers of people or photos or avatars or that models which are generated using AI. They don't exist in the real world, and they're telling the world this is an AI generated avatar. So there's this woman, Lisa or someone, she has got like 5 million followers. She does brand endorsements, makes good money, most celebrated AI influencer and all those things. Now, technically, in a jurisdiction where the principles of these things are not settled, tomorrow, if someone was to copy that avatar and still use it, then you will be dealing with this problem with a copyright wall and IP law.
Exactly.
Then we try and forget that, look, we are confined to only these two things. But the moment you do that, tomorrow when actually someone's face, real human space is copied, he'll say that, okay, the person who's doing it, okay, deal only with the copyright law and IP law. So there are no criminal proceedings and we are deal with this separately in a commercial proceeding. Then we say, no, it is extension of physical entities. So see, these are, questions which have never arose in the past. These are new, this is a new era, new problems, new challenges. So we still need to figure out whether we need a new law or we deal the right to be left alone. Right to privacy is available to individuals, but not to the code, not to the virtual avatars. How do we deal with that problem then?
You're absolutely right. In fact, there's a very famous case of New York Times versus OpenAI. That I think would be one of the first few cases, because what New York Times is saying is that the generative AI used by them, have been using like thousands and millions of their articles. So copyright, like Section 52 of our copyright basically says this, yes, you can use whatever material there is on the internet, but only for research, only for personal studies.
Why
and
should?
this and
Why? And that is also wrong. That is,
exactly,
you're training the
exactly. But
data.
there's a huge, no, there is no doubt about it, especially in India. We need a new AI-centric laws. There is no regulation for that. There is no regulation. But this
And,
one will be interesting to watch, the New York
and the
Times
second
case.
question at the risk of intervening. So we've dealt with the court, we've dealt with humans. What about animals? Now there are hundreds of celebrity dog influencer accounts. So, cute looking Labradors and, golden retrievers, and they are making good money in advertisements. What if you copy somebody's dog's photo and make machine generated videos of the dog and make money? In a
Right.
country like India where pets are not registered, one may say that, you adopted a street dog, so it is as much mine, as much yours, and I took the dog's consent in some form. So do we have a concept of consent by the animals? How do we deal with that problem? And people are making good money.
Percy.
Like
I think
partners.
Percy is
Here,
very,
let me tell
very
you,
involved in the animal.
Uh,
yeah.
Yeah.
So let me tell you that, as you probably will be aware, right now there is almost an anti-dog campaign that is running on social media. And I can tell you, when you mentioned deep fakes earlier, it resonated with me because I have often had cause to say that, look, these videos that you're posting are deep fake videos. Now, unfortunately, we have a situation where our Supreme Court has relied on media articles, which is nothing but fake news, and passed a final judgment that we are just understanding how to deal with. And because you can't do that under the law, is very clear. It's not me, it's the Supreme Court itself who said that. You cannot rely on news articles to make a final determination. You can take suo motu cognizance, but then you have to examine the issue in detail. It failed to do so. And a lot of this was based on fake news because, like it or not, there is a very active dog meat lobby out there. So it cuts both ways, Jiten. Uh, there are many videos on social media, and I can guarantee you that these are deep fakes.
Quite
Now, how do
possible.
you
yeah.
deal with that? And
No,
how do you
quite
deal with
possible.
the
No,
judiciary,
I'm
which is
talking about
relying on it?
No, I'm talking about the video which are harmless only to make money. Like, cute little
Yeah. Who
puppies offering
gets?
endorsing brands. What
Yeah.
happens in those cases? These are copied videos of somebody's dog. So they trained AI on
Yeah.
somebody else's dog's video. And then they're running influencer accounts by making fake videos, promoting brands, endorsement, dog collars and stuff, and making money. And the other
See,
person is saying that, look, this is my dog. They say,
Is
where is the registration
So,
paper?
but
It
doesn't
is
there's
only
copyright
also
come in
photographer
over here? The
there's
first dog,
also
the first one.
that only
and
pertains to
consent.
literally.
I'll just make a very quick point. So there's also an ongoing debate now as to whether a dog or a pet, because these are sentient beings now, whether it is an object which you can possess. So can you say that this is, I have ownership over the dog, right? So that's also one of the debates that is sparking up now.
But you do,
Interesting.
you can register. I'm going to take a quick break and keep this conversation going. I love where it's going also. So stay with
Okay.
us. Hello and welcome back to the Newsx Sunday Guardian Roundtable. We're here discussing, well, we began by discussing personality and publicity rights, but we moved into the very dangerous world of deepfakes and AI, and where nothing really is defined, Alka, because the question of whether it's a dog or whether it's avatar, who owns it at the end of the day? Apart from, do you own anything apart from your own image?
See, if it was my image that was being misused, yes, of course, I would have a right to take him to task. But like what Jitin said, was an animal or a dog. Now, what possibly it's a photograph of my neighbor's dog that I've put on my Instagram, and I'm selling collars, etc. on it. So, like Percy very rightly said, I mean, there should be something called the animal rights, but can a dog or the owner of the dog sue for privacy? I mean, why did you take his photograph without my consent? Does a dog have his own rights, animal rights, or do I, as a human being, own him as a property? These are questions which need to be dwelt into. There is, like I said, in AI, we need a very centric, there is no AI law as such. I mean, in India, it gets covered under BNS, it gets under the DP, that is the Digital Personal Data Protection, where it says that how you can use my data. For example, the banks, whenever you go for a bank, they make you sign all this like many pages in the fine print. Exactly. And they have the right to use my data. Now, AI's fuel is data. It runs on data. How is that using my data? I have no idea about. How do I know how they're using it? Of course, you can take it away if it's incorrect. This all is there in DPDP Act. Consent, this, that, and all that. I mean, I don't know of anybody who has given the consent to a bank or whatever, to any website, or to use the data and then sends them an email and says, okay, I withdraw my consent. And also, even if I do that, my data is already on the net. How do we retrieve it back? Jitin, that's a question for you. So how do we get it back? Once the data is given, it's on the net. I mean, how do we get it back?
So, there is a difference because, we are third-rate citizens of developing countries. So look at Google. They are running different rights in different geographies. Like in Germany, you have a right to be forgotten. Google is enforcing it. But you don't have the same right. And if you say that I am based in Germany, just remove all data about from Google search, they will do it. In India, they will not. So
yeah.
I have very few celebrities, remove some objectionable content. See, the problem is of enforcement, as both our lawyer friends are pointing out. Even if you're able to, let's say, under existing laws, able to get a judicial order, you get a John Day order. These are all temporary orders against unknown people. The moment you get a John Day order, only those who are law-compliant portals will comply. Others will not. Others don't care. Out of 200 portals you may have, made a list of, 50, 60 will comply with your order. 160 will not even respond to your notices. You can't do anything about them. So the question is problem is of enforcement also. By hook and crook, I know in my case, a person I was helping with, she had around 250 links found about some objectionable content. We were able to remove 120 odd because portals were compliant. 40, 42, we were able to forcefully take down using some mechanism, but 30, 40, you can't do anything about it. So how do you then enforce? And then this 15 days business, 10-day business is huge. Reputation harms happen 24 hours. Every day is a multiplication of 300-fold in these fake videos. So I think there has to be some mechanism that once you have a judicial order, implementation should be in minutes, not in hours or days.
Fair enough, but also, how does it impinge on free speech? And as a journalist, political satire, cartoons, if I want to make a cartoon amplifying so what a politician has said.
There is a concept called liar's dividend. We are dealing with a problem of deepfakes, where somebody's image is tarnished or reputation harm is happening. There is a other side of story also. Today, you catch any politician or a bureaucrat accepting bribe. First thing they say, deepfake hai. है ना? और ये सब झूठ है. So it's a dividend being taken by liars that अब आपके पास spot free mechanism, and if you are caught on record or video, doesn't matter, आप survive कर जाओगे. So how do you deal with the problem? You are left, like journalists. Then what options do you have? पहले आपके पास क्या था? You make a video and you have the proof. You have a photo, you have the proof. पहले देखे फिर विश्वास करें. One photo speaks more than 1,000 words. Today, I think that if you see something, don't believe it. If there is a photo, it may speak 1,000 lies. So this is the world we are entering into. That enforcement is a problem, verification is a problem, and more than the reputation harm, there is going to be a liar's dividend.
That's so well put, I must say, Jitin. So then how do we deal with this, Percival, Mr. Vilimoria? Do we actually have, what he said, verified? Everything I put out must be with a blue tick, otherwise it's not by Priya Sehgal. Is that how we're going to function now?
I don't think that is practical. And I think I really endorse what Jitin said. I think we're entering into a very challenging era now. And, see, in the past, the courts have innovated, and even if the law is not codified, there has been judicial innovation to develop these concepts. And I'm sure that the law will catch up very quickly. But just to clarify, on the dog issue that Jitin raised, the current law is that personality rights belong only to humans, not to any inanimate object. But then, of course, I was astounded to learn about a marriage in in the virtual reality world. And I think that is something we are really testing the boundaries here.
But dogs are not inanimate; they are alive, so they, in that
Yeah,
sense.
of course, right. And they also have their rights. I mean, our constitution recognizes those. Now, how do you speak for a dog whose right has been violated because somebody is defaming him with a deepfake video on social media? So,
One, there've been dogs in actors, Benji and other dogs. I'm of course giving away my time zone, but in that sense, Jitin, how do these dogs get paid? We have celebrity dogs, dogs who act in films.
No, the
The
dogs
owners
don't
take
get
the money.
Yeah, no, not
Yeah,
even the
the
owner. The
owners take the
person who has
The
money.
owners
copied the
take the
avatar
money,
takes
so
the
owners
money.
get the credit.
No. The person who's copied the dog's avatar makes the money. Owner doesn't even know that his dog has been copied and data is trained on his dog.
Okay, but he has a right to ask Alka to file a case against them.
Can a dog file an FIR? That is a question.
The owner's dog, the dog,
You
owner
would
of the
then need
dog.
a first friend of dog appearing. No, so these are, see, the point is, we can debate, we can laugh, but these are serious conversations because, see, you can't, if you settle the personality right debate, it has to extend to animals. It has to expand to, tomorrow robots. So if I created a humanoid, which is a mix of a robotic creature with a knowledge of a human, where I have put my memories and my way of thinking or my data in that robot. It is a hybrid being, it is half human, half robot with my thoughts. Who will own the intellectual property rights on the thoughts of that robot? So these are debates we
Exactly.
will face in the very near future, maybe in a year or two. It's not far away.
But
wow.
And
thank
also
you.
like
Yeah.
Also, like what Percy said was the right to privacy. Like, for example, in the cases that we fight in pertaining to personality rights and publicity rights, there's another issue. You see, there might be deepfakes and there might be some AI generated image on the internet. But then the question comes like, I mean, I have heard the court say that, no, the celebrity has to live with it. It's not that defamatory, so they just let it pass. So, there has to be a balance between what you find as defamatory, what I find as defamatory, and who's going to do that? I guess nobody else but the courts on that. But there's a
Yeah.
fine balance over there.
If
And
you're
the
a
courts,
celebrity, you have to be thick-skinned. That's what the court says.
Exactly. That you have to be thick-skinned.
on
But
that
then
note,
now the celebrity can claim a commercial right that can be exploited, and that right cannot be infringed upon.
Exactly.
okay, that
True.
is the crux of your case, the NTR case, is that it
Yeah,
was the
absolutely. The
commercial rights.
merchandise. They
The
were selling the
merchandise.
merchandise using his face, and so that we got stopped. But like Jitin also said, now we named like 20, 30 defendants in there. What if another 50 comes?
How do you implement it?
Exactly. So we go on forever with it. So there are a lot of lacunas. I mean, what we really need is a proper regulation
Yeah.
pertaining to this. True.
First, we have to define this new world and then try and regulate it. But thank you, and
We have to understand the new world to start with.
Exactly.
we have Jitin for that to help us understand and to
Yeah.
legislate it. We have the two of you. But thank you for this conversation. Thank you so
All right.
much.
Thank
All
you very
right.
much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
For more such videos, subscribe to the Newsx YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.